Welcome back everyone to another video, and so in this video we'll be continuing with a lecture on data type. Now just a quick recap. In the previous video we have learned about what are data types, then we have learned about the various kind of data types, then we learned about the numeric data type as well as the Boolean data type. But in this video what we have left is the sequence data type, the string data type and the dictionary data type. So first we'll move with the sequence data type. So in the sequence data type, the first one is string. What is string? Now string in Python is an array of bytes representing Unicode characters. Now how is this different from Java or in other languages? We'll move on to that, but first just know one thing that is very simple, that string is a collection of one or more characters, and those characters should be put in a single quote or in double quote or in triple quote. That's your choice. So this is the thing which makes it unique in its own way. Why? Because in Python you can create a string with a quotation of your choice, while in Java there is a specific rule defined by the language, which is actually a restriction, that when you create a character you can only use single quote, and if you create a string then only you can use double quote, but you can't use triple quote there. So this is the freedom which Python provides. Okay. You can also see over here, in Python there is no concept of character data type. If you want to create a character, then you can create a string of length 1. Okay. And string is represented by the str class. Now how you can create a string? Now in other languages there is a concept of declaration. You have to first declare a variable. Now declaration means you know you have to mention the type to the compiler, that I want to create a string variable or I want to create a character variable. But in Python you don't have to declare any kind of type, which this we have learned in my variables video. So if you haven't watched that video, then watch it first. I'll be putting a link in the description. So creating a string. So how you can create a string? First of all, you need to create a variable. I mean, you just have to name a variable. Let's say a string. You can just name any variable and then put an equals to sign, and within double quotes or single quote or in triple quote you have to pass the value. This is actually the value. So you can type anything, xyz, and then end the quotation. That's it. You have created a string. Now there's another thing of accessing elements of a string. How you can do that? Now for this thing I would prefer to show you an example, but let's go with theory first. So individual characters of a string can be accessed by a method which we call the method of indexing. Okay. And there's also negative indexing. So what is indexing? um, if you have watched the previous video, then I have mentioned there, but still, suppose I have a variable called x, which is a string which represents this one, xyz. So this means x is 0. Always remember the indexing of any data type. Any data type means an iterable data type. What is iterable data type? One which can be, through which we can iterate. Like if we run a for loop, then we can get the values one by one. Numeric is not an iterable data type. Numeric data type means these ones, integers, float or complex numbers. These are not an iterable data type. While the string data type, the list, tuple, set, dictionary, all this are an iterable data type, which means if you run a for loop, then you can actually get the values one by one. Okay, so this is the meaning of iterable data type. So for any iterable data type, the indexing starts from 0, not 1. Okay, you have to remember this. Always starts from 0. This is the same case for C, C++, and Java. From 0, then it goes for 1, then 2. Suppose I want to get the value of 2. What is the value of 2? Which means the third one, the third letter. Okay, the value of 2 is Z. So for that, if I want to get that value, or you can say I want to fetch that value, for that I will be using square brackets, and then I need to pass the index. These are the index. Okay, these are index. Okay, so if I want to get the value of Z, then I need to pass 2 here, and the result which I'll be getting, the output actually, is Z. Now there's another concept of negative indexing. In negative indexing, the value starts from -1. So this is -1, this is -2, sorry for the handwriting, and this is -3. So -1 refers to the last character. So if I write x -1, it will still represent Z. Okay. So this was about string. Now there are actually many methods predefined in the string class. So we'll be actually going through those methods in a dedicated video of string. So I will be giving you examples on this what I've taught you right now. So first let's move on to the other data type. Actually I want to finish the sequence data type, then I will give you the examples. So next one is a list. What are list? List are just like arrays declared in other languages. Now this means it is an ordered collection of data. Okay. Now why is it different from other languages? The reason being that in list the data type is not, it's not actually needed, because the data type of a list is like you can put any kind of data type or any kind of value within a list, whereas in other languages like Java you have to create an array with a specific data type. Like for an integer array, you can only pass integer values. If you pass any other value, then it will throw an error. While in Python, when you create a list data type, then you can pass an integer or a float or a string or a character within a same list data type. This is the flexibility it offers. So creating a list, so how can create a list? It's very easy. You have to first create a variable, let's say x, pass or give this equals to sign, and then give the square brackets. So this is that easy. Now how can I access a list element? Same way, same method of indexing, same concept. So I don't want to go into details right now, but still you can use the index operator to access an element in a list. Negative sequence indexes represent positions from the end of the array. I've mentioned over here negative indexing. Let me mark here. And instead of having to compute the offset as in this, not needed. Negative indexing means beginning from the end. I've mentioned this. -1 refers to our last item, -2 refers to the second last item. And this is how it goes on. Now let's move on to tuple data type. What a tuple? Just like list, an ordered collection of data type. Only difference being that between a tuple and a list, the tuple are immutable while a list is mutable. Now what is mutable or what is mutability? Mutability means that if you're creating a value, for example, with the same example x, x equals to, let's say I have values like 1, 2 and 3. These are the values present in a list. Okay, and suppose I want to change a value of 2 to, let's say, 4. Can I do that? Yes. In a list we can change a value we have created in a list to another value, and that is mutability. So we can say that lists are mutable, while on the other hand tuples are immutable. What does that mean? It means that if you have created a tuple, the values you have passed for a tuple, for the tuple data type, you cannot change once you have created. That's a simple thing you have to remember. If you have created a tuple, you cannot change. Only thing you can do is delete that. Delete the whole tuple. You cannot edit the tuple in any manner, except deleting the tuple. Now, creating a tuple, same way as a list, only difference, you have to use parentheses like this. You have to use parentheses, or many people say first bracket. So this is how you create a tuple. So in this example, if I have to create a tuple, let's say y, with the same value 1, 2, 3, and if I want to change the value to 4, I cannot do that. It's not possible. Remember this. Now in tuple, same way as a list, you have to pass a value and separate by comma. You have to keep it within parentheses. It can contain any number of elements and of any data type. This is the same like a list. You can have any data type, like instead of 2. Now you have to remember that this was when I was creating it, okay, not when I was editing. While in a list, if I want to change it to a character data type, I can also do that. Okay, suppose from 2 I want to change to, let's say, the letter A. I can do that. Not possible in a tuple in any manner, I've said. Okay, keep this in mind. Now tuples can also create with a single element, but it's a bit tricky, so not needed. Having one in the parentheses is not sufficient. There must be a trailing comma to make it a tuple. So how can I access a tuple element? Same method of indexing, using the index operator. Okay, and the indexer must be an integer. It cannot be a character. We all know that. This is just common sense. Nested tuple accessing using indexing, not needed. So now what we have learned, just sum it up. We have learned about string. In string, we have learned what is a string, how we can create a string, and how we can access the elements of a string. Elements of a string means each and every character, right? So we have used the method of indexing, and the same method we have used in list as well as in tuple. Okay, the concept is more or less same. We have the same concept which will be applying in string, in list, and in tuple. Okay, now I think we should move on to some examples, right? Because we have learned about theory, so let's move on to some examples, and after the examples we will be moving to the set data type. Now let's move on to some examples, and as you can see over here, I've changed my Jupyter notebook theme. The reason being that I've actually seen that when I was creating my video, the one note which I was using was in dark and the Jupyter notebook was in white, so it may harm your eyes. So I thought, let's change the theme to a darker one so that it may not affect your eyes. So the first one was a string. So the first thing which we have learned was how you can create a string. So for that, now one thing you have to keep in mind that in Python you cannot use the keywords, the reserved keywords which have been reserved by the Python interpreter. You cannot use those. It may throw an error, right? So it's better not to use those things. So string 1 equals to, let's say, hello world. The first thing which anyone wants to do is print it. So first print string 1 and then also print the type of string 1 just for clarification. Run it. To run a Jupyter Notebook file, I've mentioned in earlier that you need to press shift plus enter. So you can see hello world and class str. So this was the first thing. Next is, let's perform some operations like accessing elements, then deleting a string, and I will also try to show you one extra bonus thing which I've been told you. So let's move on. So first is accessing elements of a string. So I have a string hello world. Let's access the string, I mean the letters of that variable only. So what is the index of O in hello? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and I've mentioned that indexing starts from 0, so it's 4, right? So first thing, we need to print it. You can also create a variable for this. I'm showing both ways. First print string 1 O, which should give O. Also you can create a variable like accessed element equals to string 1 O print accessed element. Now let's run this. See, O and O. That means our conception is right. So we have learned about negative indexing as well. Let's try that. First thing is, what is the value of O in world but from the end? So from the end it is -1, -2, -3, again 4 but negative, -4. So print string 1 -4, also accessed element string 1 -4, and print accessed element again no. So our conception is pretty much okay. Now the next thing is list. So list. Now in list we first need to create a list, then we'll be printing it, printing the type, accessing the elements. Now why I'm doing the basic things, because I've thought of creating a dedicated video on string, on list, on tuple, because this if I give all the information in a single video it may get lengthier. So I'm thinking of breaking the stuff and then serving it. So for list, let's create a list. There's an empty list. Now we need to pass a value 1 comma 2 comma 3. We can also pass any kind of data type, right? So we can also pass a string data type. Let's say hello world. Can we pass a string with a single quotation? Yes, we can. bcd c. Let's print list 1, print the type of list 1. Let's run this. See, we have got 1 2 3 hello world and abcd. We have also got the data type which says list. Now next thing is accessing the elements. accessing the elements of a list. For that, we will again create the same variable acc element, access element. So we'll be using the list. Now, one thing. Suppose if I say I need to get the value of 4, 0, 1, 2. Now this will be 3 or this will be 3. That's the thing. Now in list, each element is represented like this, like each single element. Suppose 1, it is a single element, 2 is a single element, 3 is a single element. This means that if it is one single element, it should have either 1 comma, or if it is between two elements, then 2 commas, right? For here you can see 1, it is between two elements, 1 comma here and 1 comma here. So this is a single element. Similarly, this is also a single element, and this is also a single element. So if I say I need to get the value of 4, for that I need to go from here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It should give hello world. So print list1 for hello world, and access list1 for print access list. Let's run this. See, hello world and hello world. We can also perform negative indexing. For negative indexing, what we can do is let's say -3. So -1, -2, -3. Hello. So list1 -3. Sorry. Hello. So this pretty much about string and list. The last thing is tuple. So tup1 equals to, within parentheses here you can pass any value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cd, and any value. So print tup1, print the type. Sorry, my mistake. Print tup1, and now this will print the type. We can also access the element over here, so I'll be doing that only. Suppose I want to access the fourth element and the last element. For that, tup1 4, and you can pass a comma, tup1 -1. Now I say to the fourth element, right? So that means it's 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth element. So 3. I said fourth, not 4. Okay. So 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth element. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and -1 is this one. So yeah. Now I guess I've pretty much completed. Oh, I said that there will be a bonus tip about string. So bonus tip. What is that? In string, we have a concept of immutability, which means that the strings are also immutable like tuples. How you can verify or how you can prove that? That's the thing. Suppose, actually I am thinking of doing both with string and with tuple. So verification of immutability for string and tuples. So for string, let's say str2 equals to hello. Now str2 equals to, let's say, b, and print str2. Sorry, yeah. Now let's run this. See, it showed an error that says type error str, which means string object, does not support item assignment. Item assignment means it is immutability. Okay, it is not mutable. Let's do the same thing for tuple. Create a tuple 1 2 3 and cube 2, the second one, let's say 5. Please give an error. Yeah, see, the same thing. Tuple object does not support item assignment. Now can we do the same thing for list? Yes, we can do the same thing, but for this time it will not give an error, else it will actually support item assignment and change the value, like list 1 2 3 4 5. Now list 2, I want to change 3 to, let's say, 7. So 0 1 2, so 2 equals to 7. Print. First let's see it gives an error or not. See, it doesn't give an error. Now print list 2, run this. See, 1 2 7, the 3 has gone, it has been deleted from the list, and instead of 3, 7 was added to the very position where 3 was there, 3 was present, and it got, you know, it got attached to that position, and we printed the list. So this was all about string, list, and tuple. In the next videos we'll be actually discussing more about the string, list, tuple. Then we are also having set and dictionary. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so you don't miss those updates. So let's move on to the next part, which is the set. Now let's move on to the set data type. In Python, set. Now in maths also, set is an unordered collection of data type. Okay, that is iterable, it is mutable, and has no duplicate elements. Okay, these are the features of a set, and the order of the element in a set is undefined, so it can be of any order. How you can create it? You can use the built-in set function. Keep this in mind. This is very important because it might be confusing with dictionary. So keep this thing in mind. Set can only be created with using the set function, and within the set function you have to pass an iterable object. I've mentioned about iterable object earlier. Okay, so by placing the sequence inside the curly braces separated by a comma, the type of elements in the set need not be the same. Okay, it can be of any data type, various kind of mixed up data type values, so like list and tuples. How you can access an element? Now this thing about set is a bit different. Set items cannot be accessed by referring to an index. Why? Because set is an unordered collection of data type. So if it is an unordered, that means that it does not have an index. Like for one value, let's say, suppose I have a set 1 2 3. For one time I'll be having this as 0, and for the other time I may have this as 0. That means the indexes might be mixing up. so it's no point of giving an index for a set. Okay, so we cannot access individual elements. This is the thing, we cannot access individual elements, but we can access the whole set. Like we have to first run a loop, and from the loop we can access all the elements of the set. So this is how you can actually access the set items. So we have done this. Now let's move on to the dictionary data type, and then we will complete all the examples all at once. So dictionary in Python, like I said, is an unordered collection of data values. Now only thing is that it is stored like a map as a key value pair. Okay, stored like a map. And unlike other data types that hold only a single value as an element, a dictionary holds as a key value pair. This is a thing you have to keep in mind. Key value, like if you have a key like name, this is a key. Value is the value, like what is a name. So any name of yours, this is a key value pair, and you have to put a colon over here. This is how a key value pair actually looks. Okay, so key value is provided in the dictionary to make it more optimized. Each key value pair is separated by a colon, I've mentioned, and each key, like this is one key, this is one key, these are separated by a comma. And how we can create a dictionary is not like set. You have to first use curly braces. Now this is the thing which makes it confusing. Why? Because in set we know we also use this, but to keep things out of confusion, we'll be using the set function to create a set, while using the curly braces for creating a dictionary, and separate by a comma, obviously. Now values in a dictionary can be of any data type and can be duplicated, while the keys, which is the main thing, they can't be repeated and must be mutable. Okay, the dictionary can also be created with the built-in function dict, but the only thing is, to keep things out of confusion, we'll be using set as the built-in set function for set data type, and the curly braces for the dictionary data type. An empty dictionary can be created by just placing it in curly braces. And also thing is that dictionary keys are case sensitive. The same name but different cases of key will be treated in a different manner. How you can access a key value pair? To access a key value pair, there is actually the get method. You can use the get method and refer to its key name. As you refer to the key name, you will get the value. This is how you can actually access a key value pair. Now let's move on to some examples to actually clarify what we have learned now. Okay, now we have just finished set and dictionary, so let's complete it. First, set. First thing is creating a set, right? So creating a set, for that, set1 equals to set, and then an iterable object 1 2 3. Let's print the set which we have created, also the type, just for clarification. Let's print this. See, 1 2 3 class set. So we have actually verified the first one of creating a set. Now let's verify how you can actually get all the elements. So using the set1 only, accessing all the elements, we need to create a loop for I in set1. Now I'll be actually teaching you loop in my further videos, so if you don't understand, there is no such problem. Just go with the flow. For I, for is the loop, we are using the for loop. I This is actually the variable which will store all the values. Like I have told you that I will be actually teaching you. So just think it as a variable which will be storing the value for a temporary amount of time. Okay, this is a simple thing which you have to remember, and this is the value, or not value, this is actually the thing through which we want to iterate. Okay, so for I in set1, print I. Let's run this. See, 1 2 3. Now let's create a dictionary. So for that, dict1 equals to, we have to create a key value pair, right? So 1 equals to 1, 2 equals to 2, 3 equals to 3, and so on, right? We have actually given 3 values. So first print dict1, I'm sorry, print dict1, then print the type of the dictionary. It's actually a dictionary. So dict1, and let's run this. 1 is to 1, 2 is to 2, 3 is to 3, class dict. Now the next thing is accessing the elements, right? So to access the elements, we have the get method. So dict1 and then a dot, and then use the get method, and over here pass the name of the key. So in my case, I want to get the value of 2. I mean this one. So I need to pass this value. So within double quotes, or you can use single quotes, 2. Now let's run this. See, 2. If I pass 3, then it would give me 3. So this is how you can actually, create a dictionary, how you can actually access elements of a dictionary. And this was all about the data type. We have completed data type. Now in my further videos, I've actually planned to go through each and every data type in much more detail. Like, this was just about creating a dictionary or creating a list and then accessing the elements, but in the next videos I'll be actually going through some specific methods which are present only in list, or present only in tuple, or present only in string. So if you like this video, then hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, then press the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. And yeah, stay tuned.